I should have known better than to take that shortcut home. The GPS on my phone had died 3 blocks back, leaving me stranded in a part of town I'd never seen before. The streetlights flickered sporadically, casting dancing shadows that seemed to reach for me with skeletal fingers. I pulled my jacket tighter and quickened my pace, telling myself it was just my imagination running wild after a long day. That's when I saw the street sign. Nightmare Street. What kind of city council names a street that? I almost laughed, but the sound died in my throat as I noticed how the other street signs had been scratched out, painted over, or torn down entirely. Only this one remained, gleaming white letters on forest green metal, pristine despite the decay surrounding it. The houses lining Nightmare Street looked wrong somehow. Not just old or abandoned, wrong. Their windows were too large, their doors too narrow, their rooflines bent at impossible angles that hurt to look at directly. Paint peeled from their walls in patterns that almost resembled faces, mouths agape in silent screams. I tried to turn back, but the street behind me had vanished. Where the intersection should have been, there was only a brick wall, seamless and ancient, as if it had always been there. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Welcome home. The porch lights began flickering on, one by one, down the length of Nightmare Street. But instead of warm, welcoming glows, they cast sickly green light that made my skin look corpse-pale. In each window, I could see movement shapes that might have been people, if people could bend and twist in ways that defied human anatomy. A child's laughter echoed from somewhere nearby, but it was wrong too. Too high-pitched, lasting too long, warping into something that sounded more like screaming. I started running. Behind me, doors began opening, not the normal creak of hinges, but wet, tearing sounds like flesh being pulled apart. Footsteps followed too many footsteps, moving in rhythms that no human gait could produce. Some dragged, some skittered, some seemed to bounce. I ran faster, but Nightmare Street stretched endlessly ahead. The house numbers made no sense. 13, 666, -7, infinity, 13, again. My lungs burned, my legs ached, but I couldn't stop because the sounds behind me were getting closer. Then I saw it ahead, my own house, my blue door, my flower boxes, my mailbox with the dented corner where I'd backed into it last month. Relief flooded through me as I fumbled for my keys. The keys slid into the lock, turned icily. I stumbled inside and slammed the door, throwing every lock and deadbolt. Safe. I was safe, but as I turned around, my blood turned to ice. The interior wasn't my house. The walls were that same sickly green as the streetlights, and they seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Family photos lined the mantel, but they showed faces I didn't recognize. Faces that looked almost like mine, but with too many teeth, too many eyes, smiles that stretched too wide. My phone buzzed again. Another text. You can check out any time you like. I ran to the back door, but there was no back door. Just more wall, more of those wrong family photos. The windows showed only darkness, no matter which direction they should have faced. When I pressed my face against the glass, my reflection smiled back with someone else's mouth. The realization hit me like a physical blow. I wasn't in my house. I was in one of those impossible houses on Nightmare Street, and somewhere in this twisted mirror of my home, something was waiting for me. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked, then another. Something was coming down the stairs, and it was whistling a lullaby my mother used to sing to me, but she'd been dead for 10 years. I'm still here, on Nightmare Street, in this house that looks like mine but isn't. The sun never rises here. The clocks all show different times, all of them wrong. Sometimes I catch glimpses of other people through the windows, people who look as lost and terrified as I feel. We wave to each other sometimes, these fellow prisoners of Nightmare Street. We mouth words like help and escape, but no sound carries between the houses. We're all alone together, trapped in our separate hells. If you ever find yourself lost, if your GPS fails and you're looking for a shortcut home, and you see a street sign that makes you pause and wonder, turn around, walk the long way, take the main roads, even if it adds an hour to your journey. Because some shortcuts lead places you can never come back from. And if you see that green street sign with those pristine white letters, remember what I'm telling you. There's no such thing as Nightmare Street on any map. At least, not on maps for the living.